What's up, friendly neighborhood nerds? This is Judarad. Unfortunately, Ree is unable to make it because, as I said in the chat, her computer bitterly hates her. And Robo's not going to be here because he had the movers come today, and he's got to see his son's game, and blah 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 blah. Am I right? Anyway, so I'm going to do the best that I can, and you guys are just going to have to make do with me. It's a little weird because I don't have any guests right now. We're expecting Asher Humm, who you may know from his crowdfunded comic book Lethophobia, The Fear of Oblivion from Absolutely Not Comics. And we're looking forward. Hopefully he shows up. We're going to talk to him a little bit about that. But it's a pretty neat read. I was looking through it just before we started this, just before we started the stream. So without further ado, I'm going to get into what I really want to talk about, which is that, so the other day, my Leonardo from the 1990 movie came in the mail. And then today, Raphael came, and I'm stoked to open this up. And I got Michelangelo as well. So how awesome. How awesome. I can't wait to set these guys up. Hello, Just Glynis. How are you? We got Aramis in the chat. We got Glynis. We got some other people. So if you want to throw out some comments, definitely make sure you like. And if you're not subscribed already, I highly recommend subscribing too. So we're going to talk about comics. The shittiest thing happened today. I got out of work, and I have like a 2-hour window to get home. No love for Donnie. He's on his way, Allison. I ordered all 4 of them, and Donnie's on his way. And I haven't ordered Splinter yet, but there's like a 2-pack that contains Splinter and Shredder, and you better believe I'm going to have that as well. I'm going to have all of them. And okay, there's also a Toka and Razor that I saw on eBay, and I'm strongly considering getting those too. And there's a Super Shredder, so more to come. But at least Leonardo has his buddies here, and you better believe that I'm going to set them up and pose them as soon as I'm done with this live stream. The worst thing happened today. I got out of work. I went straight to Old Major Comics, which is the LCS here in El Paso. And when I got there, I was informed that the books have not arrived. So I'm going to have to go back tomorrow. What show is this? Looks super dope. Hey, thanks, Robo. Good to have you. Robo, this is the guy that I was talking about a few moments ago who had a crazy bout of real life strike. So yeah, no Robo this time, but you better believe Robo's going to be there next time. I got to stop saying you better believe. I feel like I've said that like 5 times this episode. Yeah, so no new comics today. I have to go back tomorrow. And I was really excited to get the Ronin, which I've been trying to avoid spoilers. And I was going to pick up the new King in Black as well. So just a double dose disappointment. The 3Ds. So that's a shame. But you know what I have done? I have seen the most recent. Oh. Got some good news, folks. Hold on a second. How's it going, Asher?
Hi, how's it going?
It's going. How's it going with you?
Not too bad. I had to set up things. I was playing Minecraft with my kids up to this point, and I was like, oh, no, I need to set up.
It happens. If you can, are you using your phone right now?
Yeah.
If you can tilt it sideways, it'll be like more symmetrical.
Hold on.
Oh no, now you're just sideways.
Hold on. I have that whole like phone turns with you thing turned off.
Oh, there you go. Sweet.
Yeah, because it gets really annoying when it just like it likes to turn itself whenever it wants to, and that's not always when I want it to. Let's see.
Why is it not taking your feelings into consideration is what I want to know.
I don't know. You know, it doesn't really take my feelings into consideration most of the time. You know, like when it just likes to take pocket pictures or, you know, randomly screenshot my wallpaper.
How inconsiderate. So Just to catch up the chat, so this is Asher Humm joining us. You are the writer and artist of Lethophobia. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Correct.
And Lethophobia with the subtitle "The Fear of Oblivion" from Absolutely Not Comics.
Yeah, and that's what Lethophobia means. It means the fear of oblivion. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that word was not in my vocabulary, but it will be now.
It's in nobody's vocabulary. It's one of those. I got off one of those internet lists of words that no one uses anymore, and I was like,
good.
I love that word.
That's a good word. I'm waiting for a good opportunity to use defenestrate. That's like one of my favorite newer words. Yeah, this is a good one. For anyone who doesn't know, that it means literally to throw someone or something out of a window.
Oh wow!
Finish. Yeah, there's a word for that.
Use that sometime. Jeez.
Yeah, one of these days, man. One of these days.
Window. You know, I also love the word masticate because it just sounds dirty.
But it's not. It's not.
Everyone
I was masticating earlier today. I've masticated on the air before.
Yeah, I'm about to masticate a Skittle.
Nice. So, tell me and the audience a little bit more about Lethophobia. I had a chance to kind of look at it earlier today, and it's at first I was like, this is like a slice of life thing, but it's very different than that. It's like creepy.
Creepy. That's good.
Yeah. But I liked it. So tell me, kind of start from where this idea came from, and then kind of what you were going for and what the process has been like. I know it's kind of a loaded question, but the floor is yours.
That's like the whole story. Yeah. I mean, initially, I'll just let you know the book for anyone out. No one pretty much read it because we're a very select handful of people. It's a collection of short stories, so it's like an anthology-esque. But so it's kind of like hard for me to define it because I like to call it a collection of short stories, but in the sense, it's a bunch of short stories making it an anthology. But no one calls like a single writer's collection an anthology.
Right. The anthology implies that there's lots of collaborators, and it's really all just you.
Exactly. That's all me. Yeah. I mean, I did everything in it up to this point. And I do want to raise money to pay it for colors to do final colors because right now it's just like flats. But like, I lost my job in October last year, 2019. And after some time of not being able to find a job, I just kind of gave up and was like, you know what, I'm just going to color my book. Like I did black and white, and I said 3 months sitting on a couch with my son watching TV, coloring a comic book. I'm sure any professional artist could do a lot faster, but it was like 99 pages of colors. It was ridiculous. But yeah, so it's a collection of short stories, and it all like started like, I went to school. I went to Savannah College of Art and Design, SCAD, for comics. So I've always had that dream in my life, and they did a really good job of trying to get you to think the story as well as draw it. But I was always like, I'm going to be the artist. I need to work with a writer, and I had worked with some in the past, but they're kind of difficult. And then like unless you know somebody or you're in a field, trying to find a writer trying to find a quality writer is difficult, because a lot of people have some good ideas, but they don't know how to put it down on paper. And then I am having to really expand it into something. So after so long of not being able to find anyone to work with, I was like, you know what? I've got ideas in my head. I'll just write them. Because like I'll sit there around and something will just pop in my head, and I'll like, oh, that's kind of cool. I might start writing them down. I was taking public transportation all the time, so I started just getting ideas. Some of the ideas in my book are old. Some of them are right before I decided, I'm just going to turn these stories into a book. They were all supposed to be shorter than they are. Let's just say, like, the first story is 13 pages, and I think I probably was originally intentioning 8. The longest story is 24 pages, and I was thinking 12. But as I wrote them and started plotting them out on paper, I was like, oh, this is big. It's a full issue's worth of one story. But one of the other things that makes it stand out is the fact that there's an interlocking story to kind of connect all the short stories together. So you kind of go the flow. It's instead of just, like most anthologies, just a story, story, story. I have it where it's like you're following a guy on loosely based off of my experiences on his way to work, and the bus just not showing up. So during this time from on the way to work and stuff, these stories are playing.
So there's a
Um,
thread. There's a
there's a
thread kind
thread,
of.
yeah. It's kind of
Yeah.
like it could be his imagination. It could just be, this is how we, whatever. Um, the locations are real, and the bus stuff. That's like really my bus and my bus stop. Like, I did a lot of Google for those pictures and stuff like that to make them. I mean, that's like the bus stop in the book is right next to St. Joe's University. Um, and then the last story is like all silent, and that's straight up Philadelphia. And I even planned a walking path so like any Philadelphian that reads it and go, wait, you just can't get there from there. Well, you can.
Philadelphia is like Philadelphia is like the only city that I specifically associate with a fictional character.
Which one?
Come on, Adrian. Adrian.
Oh,
Yeah,
Rocky. Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Rocky
Like
Balboa, the
that
prize
guy.
of Philly.
He seems stupid, but he wrote such a brilliant movie, and he was
It's
a
a.
high school dropout.
I love Rocky. It's one of my faves.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie, and he chose Philadelphia because that's where he's from, and the band that plays that marches up Roosevelt Boulevard is the band from the high school he went to.
No shit. I didn't know that. That's a good.
Yeah, yeah. Even
So,
though he dropped out.
so did you work with an editor on this story?
Not really. I had
Damn.
a couple of close friends. I had like a woman I know who also used to be like a teacher. So she reviewed a few of my stories early on. So like the sci-fi space story that's in the book, she basically made me change the ending. It was like more of like a um, mediocre, kind of somewhat happy but not really happy ending to no, it's not a happy ending.
Oh,
Um,
spoiler alert.
spoiler alert, but uh, it's like a story. It's like three stories, a story within a story within a story. That space one. So you just kind of find out where it goes. But yeah, so she gave me some tips, and my dad had given me some stuff early on tips too, like the story Dorian Tesla that's in there, the 24-pager one. I actually had to add a page in there because he gets swallowed by a squid. By the way, that he's pretty much fighting the squid at page one, so that's there. Um,
That's one of my greatest fears is being swallowed by a squid.
yeah, giant squid.
Yeah.
But then they like he's fighting the squid, and I'm thinking like it's it's obvious that he's in a squid, but they're like, yeah, I don't know how he got where he is. I'm like, oh, so I had to like, draw the whole like I had to add a page, but luckily I could make it a page after everything was like done. It was like I could just slop this in there, and you know, uh, it just fit and it answered the question that they had visually.
Nice.
Um,
The,
but yeah, it took me 7 years to make this book.
oh yeah, I mean you did everything, so that's a lot of work. That's an incredible amount of work goes into a comic book. It's a whole team, and you did it all yourself. That's pretty impressive. I got another question for you, but real quick, the chat's filling up. If you're in the chat, do us a solid. Go ahead and smash that like button. And also, if you have any questions for Asher, go ahead and throw them in the chat. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Who is the audience for this book that you made? How would you describe like I'm a regular guy who would really love this book. What am I like? You know?
Yeah, I mean, what I've noticed from the people that I've had read it, and they're all very different type of people. It's pretty much for anyone as long as you're mature enough. I say that because there's violence and there's nudity in there, but it's not like the nudity
Gratuitous.
yeah, it's not gratuitous. As my sister described it, it's geographically I forget the word. Basically, it's based on the geography. They're a tribe on an island, so yeah, you're gonna have topless women. And the violence is, specific to the scene, but it's still puts it in an adult situation kind of thing. I think I have like one or two curse words in the whole book. I don't like to curse too much in something, but when you have a situation that someone's going to curse, I mean, you got to put it there.
I love
That's the reality of it.
I love cursing, but not too much, because I feel like if I curse too much, my curse words lose their impact. So that's,
Ooh, yeah.
yeah. Polly's got a question. Polly's got a question that I think is pretty important. She wants to know, where do you guys think one would obtain a giant squid, and what's the best way to transport it? I mean, I think there actually are giant squids in the deep sea that have been seen. I think they've actually gotten footage of them too. So the deep
like an
sea,
octopus can't get very big, but a squid has no limitation on its size.
right? It's like an omega. It's like an omega animal. There's no yeah.
The
No
giant
known
ones
limit.
are rare, but they're out there. But they'd be in way deep sea, and I doubt you'd be able to transport them.
It would be very difficult. You would definitely need some kind of truck or some type of large vehicle.
In the water, I wouldn't want a truck in the water.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, large boat. But anyway, thank you, Polly. That was a really great question. I appreciate it. Cool. So, do you have any other? Is there going to be a follow up to this? Do you have any other books kind of in the works?
Yes and maybe. In a way. So, like, my goal right now is I want to get this book published, and I ran a Kickstarter right before Christmas. With bad timing. I have I have like pretty much no following. And so, even with a lot of friends, they didn't really get like close, not even barely an inch into the campaign, and nothing happened. So I'm just gonna relaunch this campaign. I don't have an exact date, but I'm hoping like maybe somewhere in April. I want to get some more time to build up a little bit more. But once I get this taken care of, well, I do want to, like, I have the one story in there, Dorian Tesla. That's like a character I have many plans to expand on, well far beyond where the story kind of gives you even an idea of what kind of person he is. I've actually written 19 issues of Dorian Tesla.
Oh shit.
Yeah, when you're at work and you're bored and you have an idea in your head, you just start writing.
Cool. So he's like kind of like the vanguard of the Asherverse.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess so. Because I just keep on, like, when I think of stories, sometimes I don't know what to do with it, and I realize I can just put it into Dorian Tesla. Like, so many things fit into it. It's a noir kind of. It's weird. Like, so he's like, he looks like he's in his early 60s and balding and white, but he's always looked like that.
Huh.
And like all eternity, he's looked like that.
Is that draw from anyone that you know that's been their experience?
No, actually, it's funny. So, I used to work with a friend of mine. He passed a couple of years ago, but he always has like crazy ideas. And one character he had come up with that we never ended up using was this character called Adderjack. And he was the Kung Fu Voodoo King from New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
He was gay. And then so my friend Mike decided, came up to me, he wanted to, turn Adderjack into a story. And so he had some ideas he threw at me. And, one of them, he decided he wanted Adderjack to look like he was in his 50s and balding and white. And then I kind of merged that character with another character I had of mine that I made back in like high school, into one person. So he's, this balding white guy who kind of works for an agency and has like no grasp at modern technology whatsoever. A cell phone is baffling to him, which it comes evident in the book Lethophobia. He just can't manage a cell phone. He spends the whole night looking for a payphone.
Sounds like you got too many ideas, too little time.
Yeah. I got 3 kids, and I was married while I was working on the book. So, yeah.
Damn, awesome. Well, that's cool. Where will people be able to find this?
Currently, nowhere. But I restarted or relaunched my Kickstarter pre-launch page.
Okay.
And I'm waiting for the approval from Kickstarter. It takes a couple days, I guess. So
Okay. So as soon as you have that link, we'll put it in the description for this video, and we'll signal boost it for you. But yeah, I'm kind of excited for you to get the campaign underway, and hopefully we can get some physical copies of this thing because it sounds pretty cool.
yeah.
And
How
it
far
is
did you
pretty
get
cool.
into the book? You said you just checked it out.
I checked it out right before the episode. I've been working all week, so I did look at it, but I plan on reading the rest of it probably later tonight when I'm laying in bed. But
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I'd love to know what you think.
the whole time I was looking at it, I was like, how is it possible that one person did all of this stuff? I mean, it's the scripting, the inking, and the colors and the pencil work. Like, man, that's mind blowing.
I even made my own font.
Oh, hey, Ace is here, and they said, "Hey, Asher, I read Lethophobia a few months back and did a review, and I've read it a few times since then. Absolutely loved it. Cool."
Yeah, she definitely seemed like she loved it when she was reviewing it. You've read it a few times. Wow, that's impressive. Thank you so much for that.
So,
it's one of those things, because there's so many short stories in there, everyone who's read it is just like sort of focused on one story. Like, there's always one story in there that someone seems to love, and there hasn't been any kind of overwhelming more people love this one story than the other. It's like it's just been all over the board of which one stands out to somebody, and I think that's what I like the most is like it really when you're like what kind of person would read this, everybody, like, because it really does seem to. It's not like I planned it that way, but it does seem to speak to everyone in one way or another. Something is going to stick out to them.
cool. So a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah.
So we're gonna come back to Lethophobia when we get towards the end. What we usually do now is we kind of go through what everybody is nerding out on, and in this case, everybody is myself and you. So let's start with you. Why don't you tell us outside of work, outside of Lethophobia, what have you just been into lately from the nerdy side? I see a big old stack of books behind you.
Yeah. I'm not sitting directly at my desk because I wanted to have a better shot than just like glaring lights behind me.
Right.
Yeah, that's my big book collection over the years. I don't even know. Like, I mean, I just geek about everything, but
Are you watching WandaVision?
yes.
Nice. Yeah. So what do you think?
I had no idea what to expect in advance. And I think when I first saw the poster on the Disney Plus, I was like, oh, this is going to be effed. And then I watched it and I was like, yeah. And I'm liking it. And I like they're already making the first step to the multiverse.
Right.
Are
you all caught up?
Yeah. Unless there's a new episode this week, I'm caught up.
So there's a new episode tomorrow, or not tomorrow, excuse me. There's going to be a new episode on Friday, and the last 3 episodes are going to be an hour long each. So
really,
damn. Yeah,
wow,
yeah, but I don't even
style. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's like every time I get lost in the facade of the sitcom, something happens that brings me back to like the real world, and it really is just like really clever storytelling. And Paulie says, "Don't say X-Men, don't say X-Men," because I think Paulie and I are both of the same opinion that we don't want the X-Men to be like pulled from the multiverse to be introduced in the MCU. But I guess we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, they're gonna have to. I mean, we've already pulled one of the X-Men characters.
Well, maybe. We don't know if he came from the multiverse. He could just be a guy.
I mean, it's the same actor. So
it's the same actor.
He's just replacing a role that they also did in the Marvel universe. So, I mean, they're going to be bringing all the Spider-Mans into the Spider-Man movie. They're working their way. They're going to weasel the X-Men into there, but I'm hoping they do it well. What they really need to do, of course, I know that you're using Spider-Man as the launch of the multiverse because the cartoon movie was so successful. Was originally planned to be direct to DVD, was so successful. that they're like, oh, we can get away with this. But what they really need to do is make an Excalibur movie or TV series to explain the multiverse better.
Real quick, Ace's favorite storyline in your sort of anthology is The Burden. So
I could tell when she was reviewing it because like she went on about that and then just like kind of briefed the other stories, but like she was like really focused on The Burden, and that's great. I'm glad you liked it, Ace. That's the one that my friend that like kind of helped me edit at the beginning. She liked that story initially when she read it because she was afraid when I was describing it to her that it was going to be like kind of predictable, like the lottery, or I don't know what the story's called, but like where there's like a town and there's like a boy that's like underneath town constantly being whipped and tortured, and that by his torture everyone else is able to survive and be happy or whatever. So she was afraid that my story, which I wasn't even thinking that way, was going to be like that, but she was impressed by that. So but she did help me make some changes to it. But Ace, I'm glad you really like that story.
Yeah, I'm this seems to really resonate. I'm excited to dig deeper into the deeper into the PDF. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get into some news items, and we're gonna chit chat about them. Are you ready?
Yep.
Are you ready? You sure?
So no.
All right. Here we go. So check this out. The headline is the movie worlds of Superman 78 and Batman 89 are heading to comics. Two all new DC digital first series. So this is beginning in July. They're making a comic book continuation of the Donner Superman movie set in that movie universe, and they're also going to be expanding on the Tim Burton Batman universe, both in comics that are coming out in July. I have to say, it sounds like the kind of thing that wouldn't appeal to me, but it sort of does, because I don't know. I don't know. What do you think about that? What's your first reaction to that?
How are they doing the Tim Burton Batman?
So Batman, and then Batman Returns, and then they're literally continuing that story of that Batman in comic book form.
I was thinking Bruce Timm for some reason. Tim Burton. Well, yeah. That I would like to see. Someone actually being able to utilize Tim Burton's styling, the darkness of it, the campiness at the same time. Like, seriously, Batman Returns is my favorite Batman.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. I mean, that one and the second Nolan one. Those are my favorite. I mean, because Batman Returns, that was Tim Burton finally doing what he wanted to do with Batman and not just making a Batman movie with a very overpaid Jack Nicholson.
I just want to see more illustrations of Michelle Pfeiffer, honestly.
Dude, I had this conversation with some people. I was actually kind of in the minority in the conversation, but mainly because they were black and they really liked what's her
Halle
name?
Berry?
Yeah. So that was just like more. I think it was probably more of a race thing. Like, oh, she's Halle Berry. Well, yeah, she's Halle Berry. She's hot, but I still think that Tim Burton's Catwoman is the sexiest Catwoman costume of all time, and she's also the most covered up.
It's very dominatrix, like shiny kind of remind.
You don't need like bare skin or anything else. Like, she was so hot in a full-on stitched up black dominatrix type cat outfit. Oh my gosh.
Well, a lot of it is just Michelle Pfeiffer's mannerisms, voice, and like just the way she is, like her way of existing. But yeah, I'm kind of excited. I'm excited to see more of that world and like the very distinct Tim Burton aesthetic. And I don't know, do you think, did Danny DeVito Penguin die in Batman Returns? I can't remember.
Oh, I don't remember either.
Gotta fly.
Right, they could find a way to bring him back. Oh yeah, it's funny too. I don't know where I was watching this or reading this, but like Jack Nicholson like raped them for money to do Batman, and when they're doing Return and DeVito's going for the Penguin, Nicholson's like, oh, asking for all the money in the world. You can get whatever you want out of it. And DeVito like just like no. And he just wanted to be in the movie. He didn't even care about the money. He's like, he didn't want to, rate them for every dollar. He just wanted to be the Penguin, and that's the best, because that's a person who really wanted to be in that role, and he was the perfect person to be in that role.
Yeah, he was good. No doubt about it. And then Richard Donner's Superman. I don't remember liking it ever. I know it's pretty well loved. It's Christopher Reeve's Superman from.
I'm not a huge Superman fan in the first place, and to tell you the truth, I do not really care for the Christopher Reeve Supermans.
Yeah, it's not my favorite. Some people love it. I have a friend who thinks it's literally a perfect movie. So to each their own, I guess, but just not for me.
Yeah, I
don't think
I've really more loved than the others, but I'm not a fan.
I love the idea of Superman, and I like certain Superman runs in the comics, but I don't think I've ever loved a Superman movie. Actually, I think the Paul Dini animated series Superman is probably my favorite.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, because they took the Tim Burton-esque look, and it was well scripted. No, I agree with Aramis that Christopher Reeve's Clark Kent was really good. But Dini's Superman was definitely. I think Dini's Superman series beat the live-action television shows.
Yes, in my opinion, I prefer the animated series. With generally speaking, but there could be a heavy dose of freebase nostalgia affecting my decision there.
Well, that's true, but I mean, I've watched them before DC made their channel. There was still a bunch of that stuff on Hulu, and I watched all of those with my son. And they still stand up to the test of time. They're still good shows.
We actually interviewed one of the directors of the animated series on our show a while ago, and it was cool to kind of get a peek behind the curtain. With the Batman animated series, they actually it was one of the only cartoons where the background is black. So they're animating it against black instead of against white, which really kind of makes those dark shadows and the blackness just that much blacker.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Really smart when you have a dark character. You want to make sure that he still pops out in the darkness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's really cool.
This is definitely a pretty awesome show. So this is an interesting little news headline. I included it because I thought it was weird and I just wanted to talk about it. But Cradle of Filth is the black metal sort. I guess you could call them black metal, although I don't think black metal fans would consider them black metal. But
not anymore.
Cradle of Filth will be launching a new comic book series and action figures. Following on the heels of Danny Filth's recent casting in a horror movie, comes word that Incendium and Heavy Metal Entertainment are releasing a Cradle of Filth comic book anthology series. Okay. So the thing that I think is weird about this is Anthrax just released a graphic novel based on their Among the Living album, and Iron Maiden released a graphic novel I think last year. So it feels like this is just a trend now that metal bands are as their third act are accompanying it with a graphic novel. I think Dio also had a graphic novel come out recently. So that's weird. Say what? Well, Dio's dead.
Yeah.
Dio is dead, although his music will obviously live on forever. But I guess whoever owns his stuff, Ace says they're extreme metal, not black metal. You noob. I would not consider Cradle of Filth to be extreme metal. I think at one point they were considered black metal back when I was a kid. But in my teens, the definition of black metal sort of changed away from that Venom and Celtic Frost witchy stuff, and now it has a completely different definition. But
it's a lot heavier, darker. Yeah.
But I just thought it was kind of interesting. Is this the new Unplugged album? Instead of Unplugged albums, we just release a graphic novel.
I guess they're just taking the reins of what's his name? I'm bad with names, so whenever I need them, I don't have them. Gerard, who did Umbrella Academy, and then Coheed and Cambria, who also have comic books based off their music, but their music's also based off of their comics, so it's kind of like a give and take there. But
So
I guess they go, oh, I guess they can do it, so we should do it.
speaking of comic books and heavy metal, just worth noting, and I wasn't planning on talking about this, but one of my favorite metal bands of all time up until recently was Iced Earth. Like I fucking loved Iced Earth, and they concept album about Spawn called the Dark Saga, which is like such an amazing like amalgamation of like comic book themes and just good old fashioned power metal. Have
They
you ever
made
heard
a
of
whole
that?
album about Spawn.
Yeah, it's a concept album. It's called the Dark Saga, and there's a song called Violate. There's like a song like literally they breaks down like the whole first like I don't know 20 issues of Spawn and retells it in the form of an album.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah,
but
that's
but are you ready? Are you ready for the next shoe to drop? Check it out. So that is awesome, and it was a good album, and they're a good band, but their band leader John Schaefer, the guy who writes all their songs, just got arrested because he was part of the Capitol riot. He was literally in the Capitol, like being a fucking asshole. So I can't even bring myself to listen to them anymore because fuck that guy, you know.
Oh gosh, like people that are in the public should not speak their politics unless they're a political comedian.
Yeah, I guess so. Like, I mean, I just it's
just feel
like
people are shooting themselves in the foot by stating their politics online, and then they just say something that's offensive, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like everyone's getting fired.
It's a step beyond offensive. This is a dude that like literally
Well,
tried to impede democracy.
Like despite his beliefs, he's a public figure of sorts. Not a it's a niche group that likes him, but still, it's like you don't show up to something that you could get arrested at because, I mean, come on.
And like respect democracy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's like, if you got arrested for drugs or even murder, your fans will respect you more than getting arrested for attacking the White House because I mean,
yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that. Like if I had found out that John Schaefer was doing cocaine, I wouldn't even be surprised. I'd be like, well, he's a rock star.
Expect it.
Or if he I don't know, if he was like a DUI, I'd be like, oh well, that was a bad decision, but whatever, but like there's no way I can like him after that shit, so it's just like a complete deal breaker. Oh yeah, well. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's like Thurston Moore kind of broke my heart. Like I love the Sonic Youth. It's like one of my favorite bands of all time. And then when I found out that like he was cheating on Kim Gordon, and then they got divorced, and it's all his fault, I'm like, God damn it! Like, how am I supposed to enjoy Sonic Youth when he's a douche?
Polly has an interesting point. She goes, "Wait, if famous people don't talk politics, the good guys lose too." And then she follows it up with, "It makes more sense to speak out. At least we'd know who's who." Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, the thing is, John Schaefer was an asshole before he stormed the Capitol. We just all know it now.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that. I mean, it's like a kind of creating a veneer. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't feel like, I know some creators feel the same way. They don't want to speak their politics. They have their politics. Everyone has their own politics, but, it's like you can speak that amongst your friends, amongst the people that agree with you or don't agree with you, but making it public like that kind of like it kind of divides your fan base.
It's one of those things where if that someone is truly like a piece of shit, or if I just have if I find their views reprehensible, then I just can't support them as an artist, creator, a musician, whatever. It's like it just gives me no joy to consume their work if I know that about them. So
right, exactly. I feel like unless it's your passion, I mean, say you're a big movie star, but your passion is to support this whatever, and you really, really like that's kind of where you're just going to dump your career for that because that's more important to you, then that's fine. But if you have a career and then just political opinions, leave them at the doorstep.
Yeah,
because you want to keep your fans. It's like the girl from Mandalorian. I feel so bad. people really liked her. She was going to get her own spinoff series, and then
But
she
then
had
she
like
then
3
she was a
months.
piece of shit, and
Yeah.
now it sucks because you want to like the Mandalorian, but you got to watch this shitty transphobic woman that is just not really a great person. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
kind of disappointing. So gonna move on from that for we got check it out. Marvel Comics is celebrating Women's History Month, and they're doing it with a bunch of what I think are pretty cool looking variant covers, drawn by Jen Bartel. Um, and this is how they're gonna highlight some of their most iconic lady heroes. So let's I'm gonna go ahead and screen share really quick, and let's take a look at these. Give me it always takes me a moment to like remember how to do this because
I
I
remember
need to do.
seeing an ad for it was a Black History Month cover, and there was like 3 black people, and everybody else was a woman. I'm like, wait, what month is this?
So check this out. This is for next month. This is for Women's History Month. So we got this. Check out this Emma Frost cover for X-Men number 19.
I don't get it. It's like they got Barbie dolls.
I mean, this looks like Emma to me. Look at her.
I mean,
Look at her.
they look like the characters, but I don't understand how this is supposed to celebrate Women's History Month.
Oh, they're just yeah. I mean, I guess because they're women, they're female characters. So I mean, the title here. This isn't an Emma Frost comic book. This is a X-Men number 19. This is
Yeah.
well, this is Black Cat number 4. But yeah, I mean, they're just it's just a series. I like this Jen Walters too. This is kind of reminds me of the Burn Jen Walters from I think the
Oh
70s.
yeah, those were good.
Yeah. And then we got Patsy Walker here, Hellcat for on the cover of Iron Man number 7. I do like Jen Bartel's work. Although I will kind of agree with you, like if you go up here, if you go up one, what the hell's going on? God damn it. I'm so bad at this. Okay. If you go up here, I would if all I saw was this Emma Frost and this Felicia Hardy, I'd be like, huh, I don't know, almost looks the same. But then going down here, like, yeah, okay, Jen Walters looks pretty dope. Patsy Walker looks pretty dope. Ooh, check out Kushala from King in Black Ghost Rider number 1. And then we got Cindy Moon over here. And then, ooh, look at this Shuri. I like that too.
Yeah, it seems like you just took models from certain decades and then just drew the people on them.
Yeah. This definitely, I will say this, and I hate to say it about Jen Bartel because I like a lot of her work or a lot of their work, but this does kind of seem very reference heavy. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of like confused on what's such a big deal about them because just by putting a woman on the cover doesn't to me celebrate Women's History Month. I mean, if you're going to be celebrating the woman, you want to celebrate why is she being celebrated, and putting them in just a model's pose and clothing is just like, well, this is what we've been doing to women for centuries, and we're going to do it again. We'll put them on the
Yeah.
cover.
No, I think you're making a good point. Also maybe just some more titles that feature women. I mean, you look here, this is Ghost Rider number 1. This is, this is Iron Man number 7. So like if you really wanted to celebrate the hell out of women, maybe launch some new titles that are about women instead of just doing variant covers,
Well, yeah, and not even like a short run. Like, we're celebrating Women's History Month. We've got 5 new titles that are celebrating women that are ongoing titles. It's not just for the month.
ongoing. And
Yeah.
that's how it always is, man. Anytime they're trying to anytime they want to seem like they're I guess promoting women characters, it's always a mini. It's always like a 5-issue mini. So
And
it would
promoting anything, like even the Indigenous series they had recently, it was just like a short story of Indigenous characters in Marvel, and I don't even think they did it well. I actually have a really good story idea that I'd love to do with Indigenous characters in Marvel. But it's more of an adventure, and it's not focused on the fact that they're all indigenous. It's more the fact that, well, yes, they're Indian, and there's like 3 shamans, in Marvel
Right.
Comics. You put them all together and you do something with the underworld. That sounds like a fun story, but it's not about like, oh, we're not getting representation. It's like it's too much of like, oh, we're trying instead of pointing out the fact that you're doing this, just do it.
So Ace said something that I think is kind of interesting. It's celebrating Women's History Month by replicating the various forms of womanhood through the decades and through various cultures. Let me take another look. I want to take another look and see what they're talking about. Let's see.
I mean, I definitely saw different decades. I guess I could see that. I mean, is it based off
Okay.
of when they were invented?
So yeah, okay. So we got almost like a 1920s Emma Frost. Like
Yeah.
we got what era would you say this Felicia Hardy is? Like maybe the 60s. And this is like I don't know. I feel like I'm just making shit up, but maybe this is the 90s Jen Walters.
90s or 80s, Jen Walters.
I do see some good like indigenous representation here in this Kashala, like with the traditional
Well, that
sort of
looks
tradition.
impressive. I mean, because all the colors that are on there, it looks really good. And that's a lot of work to do that.
Yeah, that this almost reminds me of like Wicked and Divine, like that style of art. And then yeah, you got the Shuri. Yeah, I mean, there's a good smattering of like cultures here. I'm not really seeing through the different ages unless we're talking about Emma Frost here, because that definitely looks like a specific era.
Hellcat does too. She kind of looks 60s, like when she came out.
I thought I was sharing.
I had
I thought
Hellcat's
I was.
first issue, and that's like written by a woman.
I thought I was sharing the screen just then, and I wasn't. So I apologize that everyone.
I'm an artist. I can think of these things.
Yeah, Polly says James McKelvey. Yeah, definitely reminds me of James McKelvey's style. Jen Bartel. The last time I saw Jen Bartel was in Lonely Receiver from Thompson. What's his? Why am I drawing a blank on his first name? No. Fuck. It'll come to me. It'll come to me after we get to the next news item. Because I have a shitty brain because I did a lot of drugs when I was a kid. All right. Let's see. So we got. Are you a big Star Wars fan or a small Star Wars fan? Yeah. Well, check this shit out. Star Wars and Marvel are launching a Boba Fett centric miniseries called War of the Bounty Hunters, and it's by Charles Soule, illustrated by Luke Ross. And I think it looks pretty badass. Boba Fett is so in now.
Oh yeah. Well, he's always been. When has Boba Fett not been in? Seriously.
Well, Boba Fett was super popular back in like the action figure days when, like I remember that was a very sought after action figure.
Yeah.
And it was everyone liked Boba Fett, but nobody really knew anything about Boba Fett because he has 2 lines in the entire trilogy. You know what I mean?
Well, it's true. Yeah, I think that's also one of the cool things is he came out kind of mysterious.
Yeah.
Really like this top of the line bounty hunter because you see all these other bounty hunters, you don't see anything about them. He succeeds in his job, and he's got a jetpack. He's got this awesome helmet. You don't know what he looks like. He's mysterious. I want to know more about this guy.
But let me tell you, man, they really blew it by having Han Solo knock him into the Sarlacc pit by accident.
I believe that seems to be most apt, though. I mean, the only way they could have gotten rid of him was by accident.
Glynis says, "Hey Judah, how would you feel about a Punisher Max style Fett series by Garth Ennis?" How would I feel about that? That would become my favorite series immediately.
That'd be incredibly violent.
That would be incredibly violent and incredibly awesome. I would literally like
fit with the Mandalorians.
I'm sincerely mad that you put that idea in my mind because it's not going to happen. But now it's just another thing for me to long for that will never happen. So thank you, Glynis. I appreciate that. Yeah, that would be dope.
Oh my gosh. Super violent Mandalorian.
So the thing that I think is cool, and I'm following Star Wars comics, but I'm not following them currently. I'm more like kind of playing trade waiting and playing catch up because I only have so much money every month. But It's looking like this Boba Fett thing is going to be like ongoing, tying in to well, it's a mini series, but it's going to be tying into the ongoing series that are also happening, like Dr. Aphra and Darth Vader and like the main Star Wars title. So that's pretty cool. I definitely look forward to kind of that.
Yeah, I never read the comics. Yeah, even
man. Dude, if you read any Star Wars comic, you should read Kieran Gillen's Darth Vader run.
Okay. That with Marvel or was that with Dark Horse?
That's Marvel.
Okay.
It's canon. It's like considered canon now. And dude, it is legit. It's very good.
What makes it so good? I'm curious.
It includes key moments that should have been in movies. Like it doesn't feel like a spin-off. Like it feels essential to the entire Star Wars saga. I don't want to give any spoilers, but there's there's like at least one part where you're like, how is this not in the movie? This is one of the most important things that's ever happened in Star Wars. Like it has gravity. You know what I mean?
I like that.
Yeah. I think you'll like it. And the art is like very it's very like he's not trying to really fuck around too much. He's just kind of like trying to make it fit. So it's very like almost photoreal style, but it fits with Star Wars. It's not very like abstract or weird. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm like an expert art critic. It's not weird.
Sometimes like it's weird, like when you find a new artist that has a very unique style and not like realistic or fitting in with what's going on in the industry at the time. They can be off-putting, and then after a while, you love it. It's like when I started reading BPRD, I was like, "What is this artist?" Like you guys are used to Mignola, and then you see this other person, and it's like everything's like kind of scraggly and like this is weird.
It's so good that
so many issues. It's like when they change artists, you're like, "Oh no, I like the other guy."
You know what kismet means?
I've heard the word, but I don't think I know.
Fate, kismet, like something happens and it's serendipitous. It's almost like it was fate. That's how perfect it is. But you bringing up BPRD is kind of like kismet because the next news item is young Hellboy. Thomas Snigoski is taking Dark Horse's hero to the Hidden Land. The Hidden Land. So there's a new series, a new chapter of Hellboy's life called The Hidden Land, and this is going to explore his childhood adventures.
Yeah,
so
today.
I couldn't pick it up because my comic shop did not get new issues today, so I actually have to go back tomorrow. But have you read it yet?
Oh no, I picked it up a couple hours ago, so no, I have not read it yet. But
do you have it in arms? Do you have it in arm's reach right now? Let me enlarge you. Let's take a look at this cover. Ooh, that's a cool cover. Look at the little cute Hellboy.
Yeah, and the inside is a little more cartoony looking than what we're normally used to with Hellboy.
That looks nothing like Mignola.
Right. When you're doing a young Hellboy, though, I think it fits. It's like it makes it feel like it's an all ages series, but it's Hellboy, so
that's cool.
Not exactly.
I love Hellboy. And I love Mignola Hellboy. Like I just like those blacks, those like dark shadows and like heavy inks. Yeah, this is not that.
No, not at all. This is like a cartoon.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's still fun though. I mean, everything that
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You go.
Oh no, I was just gonna say everything that makes it into a Hellboy or BPRD has to get approved by Mignola,
And everything I've read so far that has dealt in that universe has been phenomenal. I mean, Witchfinder, the Frankenstein, the Black. I mean, like everything that's been associated with Hellboy, even like spin-offs, miniseries and stuff like that, they're all phenomenally done. They're great writers, great artists. I hope obviously Mignola's like input is into everything, but like he doesn't write everything, and it's still really well done.
It's a cool universe. It's a cool little corner of the comic world. Just rewinding so let's take a look at these comics for a second. So Ace says, Patsy was in the 20s, Jessica's the 30s, Felicia's the 40s, Patsy's the 50s. I think you meant Emma for the 20s, Jen in the 60s, Shuri in the 70s, Kashala 80s, Cindy 90s. You know what we're going to do? Remind me in the chat when we get through the last news item. I just want to revisit those and see if that works. And then Glynis says they said no, read Afra. I can't argue with that. Afra's awesome. And then if you read Vader and Afra, they tie in. So hey, my recommendation is start with Vader because that's where Dr. Afra is introduced. And then if you're still really digging it, definitely check out that Afra title. But that first like wave of Disney / Marvel Star Wars comics, you really can't go wrong. There's a lot of really good stuff that came out.
Glennis, I want to. I like your name because it's the name of one of my favorite colorists, Glennis Oliver, who colored the X-Men. Originally Glennis Wine until she divorced Lynn Wine. But I've always loved her. She's the reason why they use pink for the psychic uses and stuff like that.
Awesome. Yeah, that's right. I knew that Len Wein was married to a colorist. I couldn't remember her name. That's okay.
Like growing up, I always knew her as Glennis Oliver. Like, because when I was started to collect X-Men, it was in the mid 200s around there, you know. And when I got like those X-Men Essential black and white books, and I was like, Glennis, what?
So that's the golden age of X-Men comics. The 150 area. That's like, what is that, like Mutant Massacre era?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say 150? I started reading around 250.
Oh, around 250. Okay, so is that like Jim Lee era or?
Yeah. Like
okay.
I think I first started collecting around Extinction Agenda, but I was like, there was a flea market, and there was a guy that always sold comics in the flea market, and I'd get back issues for like $1.25, and I just started collecting like a ton of X-Men. Man, that's how I got my Gambit's first appearance, was for $1.25 at a flea market.
Extinction Agenda is one of my favorite X-Men storylines of all time.
Definitely.
I would die if the MCU like decided to adapt that story.
I was thinking, I finally watched The Phoenix last night, and I was like thinking to myself, like, what they really should do is transition to a Mr. Sinister Goblin Queen story, and then take that and move it on to Extinction Agenda.
Yeah, I'd like that too. Do you think the mainstream audience? Do you think the mainstream audience would appreciate the whole Madeline Pryor thing?
I think they could. I mean, it's mostly about the demons. You know, it's like she's Madeline Pryor's a clone, so you're dealing with a clone going evil, and
think about how that plays in live action though. So Cyclops is in love with Jean Grey, but she gets possessed by the Phoenix Force, and she dies. And then he meets a woman who looks exactly to the fucking detail like Jean Grey, and he doesn't think that's weird. He just carries on a relationship with her like nothing happened.
Yeah, they could always flip the script a little bit. You know,
right.
I mean, they've done that. They always just kind of take the general idea of something and make, like, the X-Men Apocalypse was not X-Men Apocalypse. It was like we took the general idea of what Apocalypse does and just like threw it together and made a movie. So they could always make it into Bryan Cranston as Sinister, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's my name?
Make it seem like she thinks she's Jean Grey. You know, instead of making him fall in love with a girl that looks just like her, it's more of like she is a clone that thinks she's really her, and then the real Jean Grey pops up out of nowhere, and he's like, "Wait a minute, what's going on?" You know, and then you had that kind of fight, and then that's how Sinister's kind of revealed.
They need to get you on board, man.
You know, and then you'd have to do MCU. It was smart because the X-Men movies don't hint to any other movie. But if they hinted or gave some kind of lead in for Extinction Agenda, you would know that that's the next movie. Like, maybe talking about Genosha and stuff like that in the next movie that would kind of lead into that possibilities.
There's so much good stuff they can do. There's the amount of quality X-Men stories, like I can't even count them. There's so many good X-Men stories. It would be a real shame if they squandered it and told like some bullshit, like tried to retell the Phoenix the third time, you know? So
I actually liked the movie. I was surprised at how well it was done, and the acting was really good in Phoenix. I was
it's
kind of like scared it was going to be a bad movie.
yeah, I gotta be honest, it just kind of disappointed me, and maybe my disappointment is not valid. I really wanted to see the Chris Claremont John Byrne story brought to life. You know, I
Yeah,
wanted
it
to
was
see
like,
I wanted to see the Phoenix consume a star. You know,
well, yeah, obviously they gave you like a little tip of it, because like in the Phoenix that destroys a planet, and they kind of like, oh my god, she's like evil, like she's no regard for life. So I could see that they try to incorporate that without making her destroy a planet, by having the Phoenix itself destroy a planet on its way to her. So they kind
right?
of like, there's a little like we're referencing John Byrne and Chris Claremont, but we can't do that exactly. So we're gonna put that
Fair.
in some, I mean that was actually one of John Byrne's like, or like Claremont's like, you know, one of little gems. He really wanted to make sure that was in there. Like I think they were trying to get him not to, and he's like, no, she's got to destroy the planet.
Yeah, it's like that's such a good story. The whole Phoenix saga is like I feel like so many. I've never seen an adaptation that really captures just like the turmoil that goes on with Jean Grey, and not just her, but also like her friends, Cyclops, um, all the other X-Men, like what they have to go through watching her completely out of control. And it's like she doesn't want to be so destructive, but she just can't fucking help it. And it's such a superior piece of drama. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and, like I think the weak point of the X-Men movies, all in all, like just like a one giant lump, is that I just don't think X-Men's really meant for movies.
Yeah, maybe. I guess we'll find out. The big test is we got Kevin Feige on the case. So you know what I mean. If he can't do it, no one can.
I mean, they're still good. They're still entertaining, no doubt about it. And also you have to kind of
And
like with the Phoenix movie, you had to like consider like, well, we're putting this in the first class kind of thing, so we have to like, how are we going to work with kids doing the Phoenix? They were adults in the book, so there's a little difference to that.
Yeah,
It's how you match it together. I mean, if they were to do the Mr. Sinister, Madeline Pryor thing, I think you'd have to age them.
you'd have to do something. That's a hard. It's a good story, but I think it's a hard one to tell in live action.
True.
Yeah. So let me ask you
Maybe
this:
Groot.
Are you excited about the Eternals movie?
I don't know much about it.
So
I kind of try to keep myself like away from a lot of this stuff, so I don't get overly excited and then utterly disappointed.
right, yeah, no, that makes sense. So I happen to like the Eternals. I read the old Jack Kirby run, which I'll be honest, that's not my favorite version of the Eternals. What I really liked was Neil Gaiman did a short Eternals series that I thought was spectacular.
That. Yeah, that's good.
And it's good. And there were some other follow-up kind of short minis that had those characters that I also thought were pretty good. But Kieran Gillen and Esad Ribic, to me, that's like a creative team made in heaven. But they are on issue 2 of their Eternal series. And so far, it's really good. If you haven't been picking it up, there's only 2 issues out. I definitely recommend checking it out.
I tend to not read superheroes much anymore.
Oh yeah.
I kind of got burnt. Like it's like I guess reality set in. It started like realizing most of these people should either be dead or dealing with some major PTSD problems. And I think the only one that can probably there's very few characters that can handle it. Wolverine would be definitely one of them. He is PTSD.
Right.
He lives on it. But and then there's a handful of the characters that can manage it, like Moon Knight, but he's crazy anyways. I just feel like most of these characters should like, and it's hard to be a reader because of that kind of stuff because you're like, okay, well, what happened to them? well, it's the X-Men, but I don't recognize anybody here besides Wolverine. That's because they're all insane or dead.
It's so inaccessible sometimes where if you step away for like a year, all of a sudden you have no idea what's happening. Yeah, no, I get that.
And it's just too much drama. And I like stories that have an ending. I like stories that and I mean, even with Hellboy, it's like technical ending, but it already ended. PPRD ended, but we could have so much room to tell so many more stories because we have ways of years behind that we can tell. I love that. That's genius.
But with Hellboy, it's like there's a story that needs to be told, and they tell it. With a lot of like DC and Marvel superhero comics, it's like whether there's a story that needs to be told or not, we're gonna tell a story because we need to sell Captain America comic books.
Yeah. You're not waiting for the next miniseries of X-Men that's going to tell you a story that's really good. You're just
there's gonna be an X-Men story.
Yeah, there's just going to be an X-Men. It's like the ones that had the miniseries when it comes to X-Men. Some of the better ones, and they came out all of them came out in the 80s. I mean, like one of my favorites ever was Wolverine and Havoc. With it was John J. Muth and gosh, I can't remember his name on the top of my head. They're both painters, very different painters though.
Okay, I want to say Scott Eaton.
No. His last name starts with an S. I just can't remember. It's like kind of like how Sienkiewicz is a weird word. His is like that too.
Okay.
It could be Polish. He did like the Fountain in a comic book form. But he has like a lot more like
you said the Fountainhead?
Yeah, the Fountain, not Fountainhead.
Okay.
It was a movie by the guy who did Pi.
Oh yeah,
like the Tree of Life or whatever.
The Requiem for a Dream guy.
Yeah, same guy. Yeah.
And
he was going to make that movie, but he couldn't. Like, I guess he started, he couldn't get the budget, so he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to make it. So he ended up making the graphic novel with this particular artist. And then I read the graphic novel, and it's better than the movie. It's actually kind of different stories, but John J. Muth and the other guy, I can't remember his name right now, were such conflicting, but yet so perfectly well put together type artists, because Muth is so much softer watercolors. And the guy's like, Sienkiewicz kind of like just splatter and stuff like that. And so like Wolverine was basically the one artist and Muth was Havoc. And they kind of mixed there into like a 4-issue storyline. That's a great work from Marvel. Like it's 4 stories, it's done. You can continue the characters in short stories like Hellboy does, and people and Dark Horse do it that way. And that's some of the easier ways to kind of follow the characters. You don't have to worry about, well, what did I miss?
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I like that format as well. So we got one more news item, and this is kind of a callback to the Cradle of Filth thing, but guess what? Cypress Hill is partnering with Z2 Comics for a 30th anniversary graphic novel. So Cypress Hill is going to create Cypress Hill Tres Equis, a new graphic novel inspired by their 1991 self-titled album. So this is going to be written by Noah Callahan Beaver and Gabriel Alvarez, and it is illustrated by Felix Ruiz.
What's it be about?
I have no idea. Okay. So this is, there's nothing here about what it's about. It's just the Cypress Hill comic. So
I think they're just they think it's gonna sell because their name's on it. It's like Keanu Reeves making a comic book.
Yeah. Although I will say,
because it's Keanu Reeves.
I will say this though, at least Keanu Reeves' comic looks really cool.
It does, and he co-wrote it. And it has a great premise. People are like basically saying it's like a superhero John Wick. It's
sounds
right.
I saw one preview where he's beating someone to death with their own arm. So that's like that definitely appeals to me. So
and given Keanu Reeves a really big comic book fanatic, like he loves comics. Like when he did Hellblazer, he had to fight the studio to make sure he kept on smoking. They're going to take the cigarette out of Constantine's mouth.
He was like, "Nope, Constantine smokes."
He smokes. That's part of the story. Like they incorporate it as the reason why he smokes. So yeah, he definitely knows what he's talking about. So
I'm gonna. I want to talk a little bit more about your book. But real quick, I want to go back up to something Ace said. I'm gonna show it on the screen, and then I'm gonna screen share, and hopefully I do it right this time. And it looks like I'm doing it right now. And then let's just take a look here and see. Like so here. So what did she say, or what did they say about Emma Frost's 20s? I think.
yeah, I can see that.
Yep. Felicia is 40s. Jessica, or excuse me, Jen is 60s. Does this look like 60s?
No, that looks like 90s, like late 80s with the shoulder pads, like the pointed. That's late 80s. Like they just took the shoulder pads out, but they're still stuck to the broad shoulder jackets.
Yeah, and then Patsy is the 50s. Yeah, I definitely see that.
Yeah.
Kashala is the 80s. I don't see anything that really feels particularly 80s to me here.
She looks 90s to me. But
yeah.
I think Shuri looks more 90s.
Shuri, yeah. Yeah. The I guess the jacket over the shoulder is a very 90s thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to take another look at that. I think they're cool covers personally, but yeah, I also kind of get what you're saying. Let me see.
I know. I'd just rather have seen them doing something, you know?
Yeah, like, instead of just posing.
Awesome. Yeah, posing just makes them look. I mean, I hate to make this word sound derogatory, but feminine. When it's women's history, they're women's superheroes. Well, why can't you make them look, I don't know, feminine and powerful at the same time?
Right. You're not saying it's bad that they look feminine. What you're saying is it's bad that they're using typical like signals of like socially constructed symbols of femininity instead of showing them being awesome. Like, I guess, I don't know.
That's you can show someone being feminine at the same time, you know, looking awesome and powerful, you know, whether you put them in a trope of in the kitchen doing dishes, but yet like, you know, dishes are like, you know, Wanda and the movie, this TV show where the dishes are flying and stuff. And, you know, maybe she's like, you know, holding somebody out of a fire or whatever, you know, like as a general, like here's a, you know, scenario in the worst case, but best case scenario, I'd put them in more of a, you know, open public kind of hero. I mean, like for instance, She-Hulk, if you just put her in a courthouse, put the background of a courthouse. Well, you know, being in a courtroom, I would have loved that. That says Glynis, I'm a hero and a lawyer. I'm smart.
Glynis makes a pretty good point. They said, I mean, some women do find that fashion makes them feel powerful. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a good point.
It works on Emma Frost. That is very Emma Frost. I mean, she is glamour in herself. I mean, the woman can turn into a diamond. That's how glamorous she is.
Yeah, true. Emma Frost is the definition of glamour.
It's just like, I feel like they're taking them out of their background, you know, their environment. It takes away some of their
or
power.
Or maybe it's showcasing them. Maybe it's just, hey, here's a cool looking image of them. You know, maybe it's just celebrating them.
I don't know. I didn't see the covers. I didn't make them.
Yeah, who knows? So before we wrap this up, you're starting the Lethophobia Kickstarter next month, you said?
I'm gonna try for April. Try for April. To build up some more traction. You know, the more people I have following me, like I have a website. It's absolutely not comics.com. It's comics with an X.
Okay. Can you give me that URL again? I'm just going to throw it in the chat.
Sure. It's absolutely not comics, and the comics is with an X.com.
Okay, it's in the chat. So if anyone wants to check it out, it's right. It's right there.
There's not much to update, but you could people can subscribe to my email, which I'll be restarting soon. So they can keep up with it. I'm gonna have my pre-launch page up soon, as soon as it gets approved, so people can follow it until it launches. But yeah, I mean, right now I'm thinking April. So I want to get last time I ran it, I only had the pre-launch for a couple weeks, and I think that's one of the bad parts. I failed at a lot of things, but having a short time for people to find out about it before it launched, and then it just I'm bad at advertising myself. I work in digital marketing. I could do digital marketing, but I can't do it for myself, mainly because I have no budget.
Yeah, I hear you. It's cool. So I hope that people check it out. We have some exciting things coming down the pipeline. We're going to be talking to Sophia Campbell in April, so we're super excited about that. She, oh really?
Yeah,
No shit.
She was lost.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, I'm a tremendous fan of her Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff. And
I liked her. I like everything she does, really. But
yeah,
I mean, her Gym of the Holograms was really good, and
really good.
Glory was one of my favorites.
I did not read Glory. I did read Gem and the Holograms just because I wanted more of her, because I loved her turtle stuff.
Yeah,
but
you got to read Glory. Like, she takes Rob Liefeld's character Glory, and it's like flung into the future a bit. And instead of being like that thin, pasty girl that Rob Liefeld drew, she's like giant and muscular. And I think this was when Sophia was, before everything was changed over. But she draws her giant, muscular, and yet at the same time still sexy.
I definitely want to check that out. I did not think Liefeld's Glory was salvageable, personally, but
we did it with Profit too. And Glory story is amazing. It really is. It's like it's just this sort of pocket story of her, and you don't really realize it's like a Liefeld universe until like the last issue.
Well, I'm standing Sophia Campbell right now, so I'm ready. I'm ready for more. I'll read anything that she's involved in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll definitely check that out. We have some other interviews coming up. We got some other episodes coming up. I haven't seen her in the chat, but she is hosting the Dune book club still with Glynis, and there's a lot of other cool shit coming. So just stand by. Make sure you check out Lethophobia. Make sure you check out our friend Asher Humm. Asher, it was a pleasure to have you on the show. Hopefully we get to do it again sometime. It was fun.
Definitely.
And to everyone watching, wear a goddamn mask. Stay 6 feet away from people, and wash your fucking hands. All right. So yeah, on that, I'm gonna say, oh, let me just take one more.
I don't know what's going on. Bye.
I don't know what just happened.
Okay. Like, do I have to leave now? Like, these in the show. Like, I'm like, I don't know how to run this right now.
I don't know what just happened, but I just left and now I'm back.
Right. I just want to show you. This is a copy I made. I sent it out to Kablan just see what it looked like in print. But this is what it would look like.
Let me enlarge you. Ooh,
Yeah.
It's so bright and beautiful. I like it.
Yeah. So I like to tell things how they were made and stuff. But yeah, and also I made the cover, I made the logo and all that stuff. But this picture is so much fun. It's a messed up X-ray, and then because everything that's taken by NASA is public domain now, It's a whole bunch of space pictures from NASA's website that I use to manipulate and look like that.
Ooh, well, that's cool little. That's some cool insider info. I like it. All right. Well, I'm embarrassed now because I just left my own show and then came back, and I'm probably gonna be up all night thinking about it. So, thank you everyone for. Holy shit! I almost dropped Leonardo. Whew.
Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Raphael. He's angsty.
Yeah, him and Donatello.
Yeah, people. I think the only one that nobody picks as their favorite is Leo, which is weird because he's like the leader. So you would think everyone would like him the most.
He's got the swords. Yeah, no one wants him. No, I like Raphael.
Right on. Cool. All right. Well, on that note, we're gonna go ahead and peace out. Hey, thanks again, Asher, and you guys take it easy.
Have a good one.
And